Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business, so once again we'll do our best to hold down the fort for him. This is the show where we talk about the Bruins, the Celtics, the Red Sox, and the Patriots. Get you guys all caught up to speed over the goings on for the past week, and we definitely have a lot to talk about with the Red Sox. There's a whole slew of news there. We have possible Bruins trade news, and we have Patriots minicamps, and there was some breaking news today about the Celtics and their pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I apologize if there's a mispronunciation there. Give me a second now while I post the link so you guys can join the show, and we'll get things kicked off in a minute. Give me 1 second. All right, I think that's it. Let's see that. There's that. There we go. All right, we are ready. Let's get it started. Let's do this. Let's see. Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin has expanded his list of teams that he would accept a trade to for his no trade clause. Originally last week, he only had a list of 3 teams: Vegas Golden Knights, Minnesota Wild, and the Florida Panthers. There's speculation that Dallas is one of the teams, according to one of the reporters. The athletic hockey columnist chimed in and said Dallas has they have not extended restricted free agent Jason Robertson yet, and those contract discussions continue. So there's speculation if he would be part of a trade for Dylan Larkin, and then do like a sign and trade or whatever type of deal. So yet to be seen. I don't know what it would take I don't know if the Bruins will be on this list. I have a funny feeling they won't be because they're rebuilding. You're talking about a guy that's a 8-year veteran. He's been stuck. They haven't made the playoffs, and he wants to go to a contending team. So I would say if you're holding your breath for this guy to come to the Bruins, don't, because I don't see it happening. Not to mention what the Bruins would have to give up to get him. I saw a clip from Kevin Paul DuPont, who's a hockey writer for the Boston Globe. I read him every week. He's excellent. I've been reading him for, probably 30 years at least, maybe more. He proposed, this was his thoughts on what it might take to get Dylan Larkin. He had Fraser Minton, Mason Lohrei, or Matt Patra, some combination thereof, and 2 first-round picks. And he didn't specify 2027 or 2028. Maybe it's a combination of both. But if you're talking about 2 players and 2 picks, that's a pretty steep price, in my opinion. Patra and Lohrei, okay, fine, and 2 picks maybe. But Fraser Minton, I really don't want to give him up. I know that, everybody's high on Higgins, and, he should crack the starting lineup. He should be on the team next year. They desperately need scoring, and he should be, in my opinion, he should be on the second line as a right winger. Unless they think he can fill one of the top 2 center roles, because Elias Lindholm, to me, if you got Dylan Larkin, then you would have Elias Lindholm as a third line center, and you'd have I'm drawing a blank right now off the top of my head, but you would have Larkin as the number 1 line center with Geeky and Pastrnak probably, and then you have Zacha with Middlestat and Higgins maybe as a line, and then you got third line. You're going to have Elias Lindholm, Fraser Minton somewhere in the mix there. Maybe they could trade Middlestat as part of that package instead of Fraser Minton. I would definitely welcome that. Maybe you keep, you have Larkin, Elias Lindholm second, and he plays with Zaka and Higgins, and then you keep Fraser Minton on the third line. I really still kind of don't like that. I would love to see Zaka with Minton and Higgins. I think that'd be a good line. You got tons of speed, talent. There's a little bit of grit with Minton. He provides the grit on that line. But Elias Lindholm can't be the number one center anymore. I don't care if you're paying $8 million and paying him $7.75 million or not. He's not cutting the mustard. So they're going to have to make a move. Also, let's not forget, because I've mentioned it and I'm going to keep mentioning it until maybe they do it, is Jeremy Swayman's no trade clause doesn't kick in until July 1st. So if Detroit really wants a goalie, then you'd have a package of Jeremy Swayman and picks for Dylan Larkin. I would do that in a second. It's pretty much almost even money. The way it would work out, Dylan Larkin makes $8.7 million. Swayman makes $8 million. So the Bruins take on, a slight bit of salary, but they can absorb it because as long as they don't bring back Arvidsson, you free up $4 million right there. And I would do that in a second. So listen, if it was me, Ken Paul DuPont or anybody else, my proposal would be Swayman and some sort of other arrangement. I don't really want to see the Bruins give up on Mason Lohrei, but I think there's something wrong with maybe the system here that he's playing. He did have a better year this year. As we mentioned, he was a plus, I believe, not a minus 44 like last year. He's got offensive talent, and he's one of those guys that the second you trade him, he's going to be a 20-goal, 70-point guy, even if his defense is bad. Teams want offensive defensemen. He moves the puck good. He has his moments where he slips up, but he's definitely got offensive talent. It's the defensive end he needs work on. I don't know if it's the system. I know that assistant coach Jay Leach, he was running the defense and the penalty kill. I think he left. So there's going to be some new blood there. Rightfully so. The penalty kill was terrible this year. Near the bottom third of the league. I think they were 23rd or 24th or something. Terrible. 76%, not good enough. So, there's a lot of time left. The Stanley Cup playoffs are still going on, which has been phenomenal, by the way. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to stay awake through all the games, but it's Carolina Hurricanes tied up the series the other night against the Vegas Golden Knights 2-2. Excuse me. The games have been crazy. So there's 3 games left potentially. There's 2 minimum, possibly 3 games left to the NHL season. So by next week, we'll know who the Stanley Cup champ is, and then maybe they can start talking about trades and moves. And I don't think they have to wait until the Stanley Cup is over. I just think that may be like a standard practice. I'd be surprised if anybody got moved now and take attention away. Not that it's never happened before, but I would say now the league doesn't want distractions. They want all eyes focused on the Stanley Cup last round here. So I don't know. I would like to get Dylan Larkin, but I don't want to overpay for him. And the Bruins don't have to really overpay. But Cam Neely did make a comment, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to verbatim it. He basically said that pretty much everything's on the table. They have to get better offensively, and they need more speed. So, they do. I give Don Sweeney a half an ounce of credit. He does better in the trade market than he does in drafting. And he has had a few hits with free agent signings. So if he's going to do something to keep his job next year, the trade route is probably going to be the way to go because there's no real good free agent guys out there to sign. it's not a great class overall. So just wanted to mention that as a Bruins note, and we are going to move along. We're going to move along to. We're going to move on to the Red Sox. Listen, these guys just cannot get out of their own way. I don't know what they're doing, but they have been horrid over the last week. They're currently mired in a 4-game losing streak. They've lost 5 of their last 6, and 6 of 7. So I want to start with where am I here? Hold on. Right here. We'll start with last Thursday. While we were on the show last week, we had Brian Bayo started the game, gave up 6 runs in the first inning. They tried to use him as a starter instead of having an opener for him. It didn't work. They made him stay in the game. They had to. They didn't have enough depth to have. They don't have a long relief guy, so they didn't have anybody to suck up the innings. So he stayed in there for 5 innings. He gave up 8 runs, and they lost the game 8-1. They got hammered. After the game, he was questioned about possibly being demoted to the bullpen or AAA. He was not a happy camper. He said, first of all, just stop talking about bullpen and starting games. I've always been a starter. I'm just having a bad season. He said, when I've been successful as a starter, no one asks you a question about whether I have to be in the bullpen or starting games. I'm having a bad season. That's it. It's not whether I'm a starter or a reliever. I know I can turn it around. I always have, always will. And so after the game, they sent him down to Worcester, which I've been calling for weeks. As I said last week, I want him to go sit with Pedro under a mango tree down in the Dominican and get his head straight, because he's a mental case right now. It's not physical, I don't believe. He's got tools. It's just as soon as he gives up a hit or there's an error or there's a runs get scored, he just turns into a puddle. And it's unfortunate because last year he had a pretty good year last year considering. So look, he's in Worcester right now. They're using him as a starter down there. I don't know if he's had a turn yet as a starter. I'll have to look that up later. But for right now, he needs to get right. And they're paying him. They signed him for 6 years, $9 million a year. I think this is the second or third year of that deal. And where he's at right now, you're not going to get anything from him in a trade. So you can't trade him. He's got no value. And it's unfortunate. So hopefully he can get himself squared away, because this pitching staff is going to need him at some point in the next month or the second half, at least, just to suck up innings, because they're obviously not going anywhere. Now, last Thursday, I thought the Red Sox would get swept against the Yankees. That didn't turn out to be the case. They actually won the first game 5-3. Sonny Gray got off to a rocky start. He gave up a home run in the first inning, and I was like, oh, here we go. It's unraveling. They're done. But it didn't happen. He pitched 6 in the third innings. He gave up 3 runs. Solid outing for him. And Wilson Contreras was 2 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBI. And the bullpen did a good job, and they won the game 5-3, to my shock. And, they get the first one. Saturday's game was rained out. It was postponed. It'll be remade up August 29th as part of a doubleheader. And then Sunday against the Yankees, Ranger Suarez pitched 6 in the third innings. He got 1 run. He had 6 strikeouts. He had another good outing. He's been pretty good for them overall. But the bullpen came in, and Justin Slater got the first 2 outs in the 8th inning. Then he unraveled and gave up 4 runs. And they lost the game 6-1. This is what I said last week. When the hitters were going, the pitching sucked. When the pitching's going, the hitters suck. The bats were asleep again. They only got 6 hits. Lose 6-1, awful. So they get a split there. But then Monday through Wednesday, they went down to Tampa, where they really don't play well there over the last, I don't know how many years. I mean, there was a stretch there where they did own the Rays, but the Rays have been good this year. They're in first place. And actually, I think the Yankees are tied with them for first. Or there's a half game difference between those two teams. They're the best two teams in our division right now. Tampa Bay has been very good. So the first game, another game where the bats go quiet for only 4 hits. Connolly early, he struggled. He pitched 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs. He had 6 Ks. We had 96 pitches. Another outing where the starters can't get through 5 innings. They lose the game 3-1. They get guys on base. They can't get them in. It's been rough. 6 hits, 4 hits, leaving guys on base. They're hitting with guys on base has been terrible this year. Tuesday night, Peyton Tolley pitched. He didn't have the best stuff. He did get out of some jams, but he gave up the 4th inning. Kind of did him in. He gave up 3 straight hits and 3 runs. Like I said, he struggled. Got out of some jams. He did pitch 6 innings. Gave up 4 runs. Took the loss. And they were down 4-1 in the 8th inning. They put together a little rally. Got 2 runs. But they ended up stranding a guy at third, and they lose the game 4-3. This has been par for the course. They've had chances. They've had guys on third. They've had bases loaded. They've had 11 guys stranded on base during a game. It's just nonstop. And then yesterday, they had to call up Jake Bennett from Worcester because Bayo is down there trying to get right. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 runs. He unraveled in the 5th. They were down 5-0 in the top of the 8th. They scored 4 runs to make it 5-4. But of course, Slayton came in, gave up 2 runs, make it 7-4. So any hope you have, scratching out a win here, doesn't work. Caleb Durbin hit 2 home runs in the game. He had a second home run on the top of the ninth to make it 7-5. But it's not good enough. And now they are in last place still. I think they're 13.5 or 14.5 games out of first place. They have the 4th worst record in baseball. They are 1-35 when trailing by 2 runs after the 8th inning, from the 8th inning on. They are on pace to lose 96 games, the most since 1965. Even the 2012 Bobby Valentine team went 69-93. As bad as they were, the chicken and beer team. Maybe that was the year before, whatever. Bobby Valentine, terrible. They just can't get out of their own way. Terrible. 1-35. That's brutal. No walk-off wins, I think, or maybe 1 walk-off win the whole year. That is just absolutely awful. I do want to talk about the continued the continued injury issues that plague the Red Sox. Not just the players being hurt, but the front office botching the commentary as to what the injuries are, who's doing what. We said last week, between the players and the medical staff and the front office, none of them are on the same page. They're all doing this nonsense here. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And the dysfunction is just unreal, how bad this is. And so Sam Kennedy, the president and CEO, who you guys know I love to have an axe to grind with that guy every time he talks. He has a weekly appearance he does on WEI here in Boston. And he described the team's season as embarrassing, unacceptable, and awful. So, gee, you think? What? Finally, got your head out of the sand there, Sam? What the hell, dude? He confirmed that CBO Craig Brazelow's job is safe, but stated that the team may become sellers at the trade deadline if things do not turn around soon. We've been talking about them trying to add a right-handed power bat. They're desperate. They're talking about possibly taking on bad contracts and eating salary and all this other nonsense. Uh, I think that's stupid. I think that at this point, your sense of urgency shouldn't be when you're in last place again for the, I don't know, fifth time in 6 years or whatever it is. The sense of urgency should have came in the offseason when Alex Bregman left. And listen, I don't blame them for not signing Alex Bregman. We went over this, and I'll go over it again right now. That guy's 34 years old, whatever, gets a 6-year deal for, $35 million a year and a no trade clause. No, thank you. He's too old. A guy's 28, and you want to give a guy 6 years and no trade, blah, fine, but not him. So they had another guy they could have got, Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso, they lowball offered the guy. He ends up signing for I don't know how many years and $155 million. 30. I think it was 5 years, 155. That's only $31 million. You're paying Devers 30. And of course, when the Orioles came to town last week, he hit one out of the park and hit a home run and did you in. That's embarrassing. Exactly right. Embarrassing is putting it lightly. I mean, to talk about adding insult to injury. There's a guy that easily could fit in your lineup, and you chose to lowball like you always do. Just the continued garbage and gaslighting nonsense is just over the top too much. But here's some more takeaways I want to get to. He said that Breslow's job security is moving on from him is not on the table. He emphasized that the blame for the start rests on everyone across the organization. Now, listen, this is this is the kiss of death when the manager or the front office guy gets a vote of confidence, or they say he's not going anywhere. Usually, that spells the end, and I don't think that they're going to get rid of him just yet. I think they'll wait till after the year. Firing him now and putting another guy that's just like him in place makes no sense. It's not going to turn things around. Even if, and we went over this last week, I went over this last week with Frank. Listen, it doesn't matter who they get for a right-handed bat. You can get a left-handed bat. You can get Barry Bonds. You can get Ted Williams. You can get Big Papi. You can get Manny Ramirez. You can get whoever you want. You can get Jim Rice. It doesn't matter what bat they get. It's not going to be enough to overcome the rest of the deficiencies that are on the roster. Okay? They still don't have a true good second baseman. Trevor Story unfortunately got hurt again. He's been a bust. Last year was a good year for him. It's the only good year that they've gotten out of him. But you have a revolving door at shortstop. You have a revolving door at second base. You have Caleb Durbin at third, who's not a power hitter. And I think they knew that going in. What did he hit last year? 15, 16 home runs, hit 260 maybe. Solid glove, was rookie of the year. The driveline idiots trying to turn him into a power guy and killed him. And I'm going to get to him later, so I'm not going to hop on that. But my point is that at this particular point, you're in last place, and no right-handed bat is going to help fix this. You also have a manager who's learning on the job. He's a rookie. He's never managed in the big leagues before. It's not like what Philadelphia did when they fired their manager and they promoted Don Mattingly. He was already a manager in the big leagues. He's been a big leaguer and so forth. So, their record since they fired their manager is 24-10. They're in I don't know, first or second in the wild card race over there. So they're not done now. Now, obviously, they have way more talent than the Red Sox do because Dave Dombrowski's a damn good GM. He's the one that gave us the 2018 championship here and built the team that won it. Unfortunately, the same old MO with John Henry not wanting to spend money, that's going to be a concern. Now, I want to do a little bit of revisionist history here on the injury front. If anybody recalls, roughly about 2 weeks ago or so, Michael Hawley, who was on one of the channels here locally, came on and said that he accused Red Sox interim manager Chad Tracy of lying about Roman Anthony's hand injury. He called the situation one of the biggest flops ever. I don't know if those comments, no one knows if those comments were specifically towards Anthony. I kind of doubt that. But the reason I bring that up is because Sam Kennedy today apologized for giving inaccurate information regarding Mo Anthony's injury status in a previous interview, stating it was a mistake on his part. A few weeks ago, on the same show on EEI, excuse me, he refuted the report that outfielder Mo Anthony had a tear in his ring finger, saying it was only a sprain. So he said that it wasn't a tear, it was a sprain. Then Roman Anthony came out and refuted those comments to another EEI reporter and said that, confirmed that it was a tear. He said, I got a tear at the bottom of my ring finger. So listen, again, with this back and forth, they can't get it right. The kid can't even swing a wiffle bat right now. So, I can tell you this, typically a sprain, anytime you sprain, there's a whole debate. I'm not going to get into it here, but, all the sports radio guys were going bonkers over what's the difference between a tear and a sprain. And a sprain is like little micro tears, blah, blah. A tear is like when you tear it right off, pretty much, right? You have to have surgery to repair it, kind of. So there's all kinds of Anthony doesn't have any grit. He's not tough. He won't play hurt, blah, blah, suck it up. He can't swing a bat. He's got discomfort. It's his hand. He's got to figure it out. Okay? Typically a sprain, you sprain your ankle, it's 2 weeks, and you're back. Right? I don't know how bad it is for a finger. I've never broken a finger or had a sprain. It's one of those things. He's going to have to figure it out. But the back and forth with these guys is nonstop insanity. Roman Anthony's on the disabled list. He's not swinging a bat. They had to make him stop. He can't swing a wiffle ball bat. They had tried to have him hit off a tee. Excuse me. And he says he's got pain, so they had to stop him. So listen, maybe it's a little bit of both. I hear sports radio guys, former players that are on, and they say, look, it's a comfort thing. You have to be able to play hurt somewhat. You're never always going to be 100%. And maybe this is a case where, some guys will not play if they're not 100%. I'll use Jimmy Garoppolo when he was here as an example, and I'm sure he did the same thing when he was everywhere else. I mean, he had, when Brady went down, he got hurt. He had a shoulder injury or whatever it was that he had, and he didn't play. And then Jacoby Brissett came in, and that guy broke his finger and still played and led the Patriots to a victory a few years later. So look, long story short, guys play hurt. Some guys play with torn ACLs. Some guys play with torn ligaments in their thumb and this and that. Swinging a bat is difficult because, when you got a 100-mile-an-hour pitch coming in and you're trying to hit the ball, there's vibration sometimes, especially if you don't swing correctly or if it just hits funny. You get vibration. It kind of stings and hurts a little bit. So I don't know what his pain tolerance is, but at some point, they either have to come out and say, look, he's got to have a surgical procedure on that finger and put it back together because the rest and the cortisone shot and all the rest of the crap ain't working. He had this big giant, first they told us, and the other thing too, going back to Michael Hawley's point, is that first they told us it was a wrist injury, and he comes out with this big freaking brace on, and his wrist is all covered up. And then we find out it's not his wrist, it's his finger, and there's all kinds of, padding and whatever is on his hand. So, Michael Hawley hit the nail on the head, and they didn't like it. Well, too freaking bad. How hard is it to just say, look, the guy's got an injury, and we have to wait it out, and the injury is X. Instead of fighting with the guy you just signed to a 9-year, $130 million contract. He's supposed to be the face of the franchise, and you want to go pissing him off already. I mean, I laughed. I think that this just reminds me so much of like the 70s and 80s Red Sox, where it was 25 guys, 25 cabs, and the front office was screwing the pooch all the time with the players and pissing them off. You can't do that. You have to understand that, and they should know this already. They've been around long enough. The media here will chew you up and spit you out. So you have to now, Sam has to answer. And now he's eating a little bit of crow. And I think he's just giving the politically correct, so to speak, straight answers, generic that everybody wants to hear. We're never going to find out what's really going on in there. But this guy, came on and said, I need to own up to my mistake. I was unequivocal in my response to you regarding Roman and his situation. Apparently, I missed that day at Harvard Medical School. Ha, 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 idiot. I shouldn't have been sitting here talking about a sprain. A sprain is a tear. I was off to report that identified a sprain. Roman's doing everything he can to get back and get better, putting timetables on injuries. It's really, really hard. That's why we try not to do it. Yeah, sure. Okay. And then when we don't do that, it sounds evasive and like we're dodging it. Well, the thing is, if you just come out and tell the truth in the first place, you don't have to worry about evasive and lying and all that stuff. You don't even worry about it. He said he apologized and communicated that with Roman Anthony. So somebody in the front office has to smooth things out with the players because, you're not going to be able to keep doing this. And you would think that last year when they had the Rafael Devers situation, they would learn from that and not make the same mistake again, you bozos. I mean, really, how hard is that? You guys are really, you're not going to have guys left. You're going to have guys like him that are going to ask for a trade. And then you're going to, and as it is, I'll bet people don't want to come here because it's a complete clown show. Garrett Crochet has been out with a lat injury issue. I don't know what it is, torn, sprain. Nobody knows what that. I don't know. But he's been out, and he said that it's worse than originally feared. So he's out indefinitely still. He can't pitch. He can't throw. But, Sam Kennedy again, dealing with the lat issue. I'll stop there. If anything, I can learn from my mistake in terms of putting a timetable and getting into details is not my role. I'm not going to do it. I know it's killing him. It's killing Roman not to be out there. Hopefully, he'll be able to get back out there soon enough and help us get this thing back on track. So listen, he's doing the PR spin, trying to right the ship over there. I just don't. He's such a weasel. I don't trust anything he says. And I said this to Frank last week. We were joking. Frank was like, put me in the dugout and put that stiff Steve in the front office or whatever. And that's like, listen, the two of us could probably do a better job not knowing nothing. If you're going to just hire another analytics bozo that's just going to read off a sheet and say, here's the things, then anybody can do that. I mean, you don't need Craig Breslow for that. I'll do it. I'll do it for a third of the money. But I think that, they're going nowhere quick. They're grasping at straws. I mean, if they were really desperate for a bat, and it's really difficult right now to trade because so many teams are in the hunt now, or think they're in the hunt, that they're not willing to give up on the season just yet. You're really going to have to wait until the end of July, maybe 2 weeks before July. People, I think Toronto last year jumped the gun like at least a week before the deadline, and they got some pieces. So they're going to have to do something proactive before that. I think they're going to end up selling pieces off. Somebody, I don't remember where I heard this on sports radio over the last few days or whatever, but somebody was like, yeah, you can trade, you can get a bat, but then you can sell the pieces off and you can sell Chapman and sell this guy and sell that. I'm like, wait a second. You don't add the bat and then sell the guys off. You're not going to have no closer. What are you going to do? Guy hits 2 home runs. All of a sudden, the bullpen comes in. There's no bullpen. There's no closer guy. Who's going to close? We're going to have closer by committee crap again? No. You got to pick a lane. You can't do both. The Chaim Bloom did this when he was here, tried to just split it and do both. Craig Breslow did the same thing last year. That idiot gave us Dustin May, who was a gag. And who's the other guy they got? The guy's trying. I'm drawing a complete blank. He complained after they got him. I thought it was a good move. reliever, but he came in and he kept blowing all the games. They ended up getting rid of him. I can't think of his name, but what good is that? They were marginal guys. You need to step up and get good guys. You either have to pick a lane and get a hitter, and if you're going to do that, you can't trade the closer. You can't trade Garrett Whitlock. You can't trade Duran. You can't trade guys now. You can't do that. Oh, and also Marcelo Maya, who hit a home run earlier in the week, went down with a neck and shoulder strain, so he's out. Maybe he's available to pinch hit, or maybe he's back tomorrow. I don't know, but he was the starting lineup yesterday. Another guy looking at being hurt. They're just a complete disaster, those guys. And this thing of like trying to like half-ass it and do like, okay, let me get a hitter, but once I get the hitter, then we're going to trade the best closer in the league for the last year and 2 months. I mean, that guy's ERA is like 0.48. He's given up like almost no. I think he's given up one run all year long. You're going to trade that guy? I've been hopping on this for 3 years. Every time they do the stupid closer by committee crap, it doesn't work. I don't want that. You got him signed for this year and maybe next year too because you extended him. Well, let him pitch. If it's that bad and, you're still in last place or, nothing's happening at the trade deadline and you want to trade him, then go ahead. But don't add a bat and then try to trade him because I'll freaking lose it. I don't get that. There's no fix right now the way you built this roster. And I'm so sick of hearing about, how they're going to spend over the CBT. I still have Sam Kennedy's comments here. He said that they're willing to go over the CBT. It doesn't matter that the goal should be 95 wins in a World Series. You don't even have 30 wins yet. 2 months in. You ain't getting 90 wins. And shame on me. I bought it. They traded for Sonny Gray. They signed Ranger Suarez. They got pitching. I figured, hey, look, if you got Crochet and you got those two guys behind him, you got legit guys now. You don't have to put Brian Bayo as the number one guy, and he can be number 4. And they would have decent pitching and decent bullpen. Justin Slayton was good last year. He was on DL. He got hurt. He comes back. He's a puddle. Greg Weiser, that guy, another guy. Some of these relievers, they have to come in with a clean inning. They have to come in with no guys on base. He's one of those guys. As soon as you bring him in and there's a guy on first or second, the floodgates open. He's giving up home runs. He's blowing leads. It's like you can't rely on him. Stop freaking bringing him in when there's guys on base. Figure out who the guys, and I don't know if they have any of those guys. Because like I said last week, they got some guy, Tyler Guerrero, and some other guy, Samaniago, or whatever they are. More Ocean State job lot bum guys I've never heard of. And Giovanni Moran, they had him here last week, had to send him back, through one pitch and give up a home run or whatever he did. You're not building it right, and so it's not going to work. Until you figure it out. Buy a friggin' vowel guy. I mean, this is stupid. It's just so frustrating. These reclamation projects. Patrick Sandoval finally throwing a few innings down in AAA. Maybe he comes up. Cutter Crawford's still out with whatever injury he's had since the middle of last year or whatever. If he was available, I'd make him the long inning guy. I'd put him in the bullpen and make him the long relief guy. So at least you have an arm. Nobody has, they have not really had a long relief guy in a while. Like they don't believe in it. Like, oh, we'll just put this guy in here. Oh, let's put that guy in the 4th inning. We'll put this guy and then put that guy. We'll start this guy as the opener. It's like, wait a minute. You got no structure and no stability in there. Those guys don't know what the hell their roles are. That's part of the problem too. You got these guys all over the effing place. The only 2 guys that know what their roles are is Whitlock as the 8th inning guy and the closer, who's the 9th inning guy, Aroldis Chapman. It's like everybody else is like the guy could come in the 4th, he could come in the 7th, he could come in with guys on base, he could come with no guys on base. It's like, wait a minute. Can you figure this out and do something and make it so that these guys know what their roles are? And, I know that the new rule where they have to face 3 guys minimum does make it a little more difficult to do that, but you got to figure it out. And continuously letting these guys, Slayton back to Worcester. Weiser should have already been in Worcester. Zach Kelly's in Worcester. Thank goodness, gone. Get him out of here. But do something else. Get me some guys because this is stupid. They're just making no freaking sense at all. I don't like the way these guys, him and Hein Bloom, I'm telling you, Breslow and Hein Bloom, John Henry's complaining about payroll. He was complaining that they're hiring, 300 of these analytic guys. Like, dude, what are you letting them hire all those idiots for? If you're worried about it, get rid of them and get some ball players. But typical, like we've been saying, is you can't tell people not to go. Well, you can, but they'll still go because it's Fenway Park. It's an attraction. All summer long, people are going to go there just to see the ballpark. It is cool if you've never seen it before, right? It's an attraction. I get it. People around here don't go, then the visiting fans go. So they sell the tickets either way. I think, it might bother John Henry a teensy-weensy bit when the Dodgers come to town and half the stadium is all Dodger fans. Or Philly comes to town and it's half Philly fans, and Toronto comes to town and it's half Toronto fans. I mean, this is what the Red Sox used to do to everybody else. That's how the Red Sox Nation thing started, right? We used to be the ones to go fill 40% of Tampa Bay's ballpark and 40% of Baltimore's ballpark and some of New York's ballpark and some of the California, some of their ballparks. Now it's the shoes on the other foot. How does it feel, John Henry? How does it feel to be have the shoe on the other foot now? You're not the ones disrupting the other team's home field advantage. They're disrupting yours. And another thing, they are like 10 and 22 at home or some ridiculous number like that. They haven't been this bad at home since the 30s, maybe even the 20s. It's horrendous. Fenway Park, man, but again, I blame the driveline guys. I mean, they're trying to get everybody to hit freaking home runs. That ballpark is not designed for that. Yes, you have the monster, but, you should be teaching guys how to use the wall. I mean, Wade Boggs made a freaking living off that damn wall, and he was left-handed. He tattooed that freaking wall at least once or twice a game. I mean, that's ridiculous. They're just not teaching it right anymore. And, I've said this before, and I hop on it all the time because I watch games and I watch the team's lineups, and they all have guys hitting 160, 180. I watch some of the pitches the guys are swinging at, and what's frustrating to me is that the pitchers don't aggressively go after the hitters. They try to nibble the corners. They try to use breaking sweeper crap and get the guys to swing at balls at their ankles in the dirt, and the guys swing at them. Our guys, their guys, everybody's guys. It's just a matter of whose guys swing at those stupid pitches less. Unfortunately for us, it's the other team swinging at them less. But there was a guy on their team, I think it might have been Peyton, totally threw a ball. It was right at the guy's ankles, and it bounced, and the guy swung. I'm like, guy, bring your 9-iron. What are you swinging at? Like, these guys don't know the strike zone. Nobody knows the strike zone. They don't practice it right. They're all being taught all this launch angle nonsense. There's a lot of strikeouts. At some point, people are going to get fed up watching just home runs and strikeouts. There's no real hits in the game. There's no real hitters. There's no more Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn kind of guys that hit 360. I mean, there might be a few guys hitting 340, whatever now, but they're not household name guys like that. Don Mattingly hitting 320 a year with power. There is no more of that. If you hit for power, you hit like 220 or 230 maybe. It's just, and the strikeouts, I remember seeing like, in 160 games, Wade Boggs would strike out like 40 times in a year. Tony Gwynn, 18 times in a whole year. 700 bats, strike out 18 times. These guys, 169 strikeouts in a year, 200 strikeouts in a year. I'm like, this is insane. This is stupid. The game, and I'm going on a rant here, so I apologize about that. But, it's all part of the problem. It's not just a Red Sox problem. It's a baseball problem. They're sucked into it. They're last in they're last in baseball in home runs. They have no power other than Wilson Contreras, who's got 10 home runs. If they didn't have him, they'd have nothing. at all. That's another guy they're talking about that they should trade at the deadline. I'm like, he's the only one hitting the freaking ball. You going to trade him? Then what are you going to do? All right, I do have a couple more things I want to get to, so I've overrun the Red Sox, but I do want to do one thing real quick before we move on. And I've kind of gotten away from this. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Where'd it go? Give me 1 second. Right here. Okay. So earlier in the year, I had put up Red Sox All-Star of the Week and Red Sox Bum of the Week. I haven't been putting them up because they've been mostly bums. So to me, there's no point. But I'm going to select one each for this week. Caleb Durbin is the All-Star of the Week. He went 5 for 16 with 2 home runs in the last game. He was hitting 163 on May 24th. Finally went to some G swing place up in the North Shore there to have them help him fix his swing. And since that time, he's hit safely in 10 of his last 12 games. He's 15 for his last 44 for a 340 batting average with 5 doubles and 9 RBI. That's the kind of production that they should have been getting out of him. And if they go back and PP slap him and say, nope, you can't use those guys no more, and make him go back to what he was hitting 160, I'd say, fine, trade my ass out of here. Get me out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. You're ruining my career. So that just goes to show you how much those guys don't believe in the driveline crap. So I just wanted to point that out. Bum of the week, Justin Slayton, obvious. 2 games he pitched, 2/3 of an inning in both games. He gave up 6 runs. He got 2 losses. Cost them games. Well, no, the second game he didn't cost them, but the first one he did. Suarez, he cost him a W. The other game was already out of hand, but his ERA in the last 2 games is 40.50. Bye-bye. See you later. Junk. Have a nice day. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Patriots mandatory minicamp just ended. Today was the last day. I'll just hit a couple notes real quick. Patriots number 2 draft pick this year, Jacob Yakas, the defensive end, is the lone unsigned player. He also had a procedure. And he's not under contract, so he's not in camp. Vrabel sounded kind of miffed a little bit. I mean, he had to have a procedure. I'm assuming it was I heard it was a knee thing. So, listen, he's not signed. That's not a good sign to begin with. But hopefully he'll be in at some point. Christian Gonzalez, everybody knows his situation. He's looking for a new deal because now he's finished his 3rd year and whatnot. This is his 4th year. He's still under contract. They did pick up his 5th-year option, so he's under contract for the next 2 years. Regardless of what happens, he did show up to camp. It says that him and Vrabel and Gonzalez are on the same page about the cornerback not participating in competitive 11-on-11 drills. That's probably by design. They spoke about the situation before minicamp. I'm guessing Gonzalez might have talked to him and said, hey, I'm not doing anything until we get a deal. He doesn't want to get fined. The fines are like, I don't know, $50,000 or $100,000 a day if you don't show up. So, the players, if you go back to Matt Judon, was a holdout inside, right? He showed up, but he didn't really do any drills. He just didn't want to be fined. So it's probably the same kind of thing. There is a note about practice ending 20 minutes early today. Drake May, edge rusher Braden Swinson accidentally broke through the line, hit May when he delivered a touchdown pass. Now, mind you, the quarterback has a no contact drill on, so jersey on, so you're not supposed to hit him. That kind of caused a little bit of a stir. May quickly got to his feet, appeared unharmed, but A.J. Brown and Mike Vrabel immediately addressed the team. Brown sternly stated that hitting the quarterback, even accidental, is unacceptable, and Vrabel concluded the practice immediately after to avoid any further issues. Look, maybe it's a case of a young guy. He's trying to make his point so he can make the team, and he hit Drake May when he wasn't supposed to. Hopefully, it's a lesson learned. I don't think they'll cut him or anything over it. If they do, then he did it to himself. He should have known better. But I don't think it's anything to really worry about. At the beginning of practice, May looked sharp. Once again in the red zone, hitting the plethora of receivers for short touchdowns. Whether it was getting the timing right on screen passes to Ramondre Stevenson, throw it in the back of the end zone to Dubs or Brown. He was able to make reads quickly and place the ball where he needed to be. That's a good sign, especially in the red zone. They need to improve their efficiency there. I think that, they had a number of times, and I don't have to get specific, but there were too many times where they got down in the red zone, didn't get touchdowns, and they had to settle for field goals. And they actually went for it once or twice on fourth down, didn't get it. So that's a key. And it's a good sign that, he's making some adjustments and he's able to hit those guys in camp. It says, however, as practice went on, the defense began to do some things to throw May off. They sent Marcus Jones on a corner blitz and seemed to startle May into a high throw that went incomplete. He sailed a pass over back Hollins's head while trying to thread it into tight coverage. And there was a rep or two when the pocket collapsed and May had to tuck the ball and run. So listen, hey, look, I kind of like that they gave him a little bit of a wrinkle like that. You're going to see it in the game anyway. You can read the defense and say something's coming and then have them do a dipsy-do and they do this all the time. We watch it on the X's and O's. You have them in a certain formation. All of a sudden, the safety comes off the grounds, the thing, and hits him. So, look, I kind of like that they did that to him because that's going to make it better for him when he sees it in live action. Again, it's no contact, so, it's just learning for them. I don't have an issue with that at all. It says he completed 10 of his 20 passes, and most of the completions went for red zone touchdowns. That's good. All right. Let me get to one other piece of business before we get out of here. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about Patriots, the closer we get to training camp. Training camp's next month. So don't worry about that. I want to mention, okay, I actually did watch the whole game last night of the Knicks and the Spurs, and I watched the Spurs throw away a 29-point lead, and it reminded me so much like the Celtics. On Frank's other show, Box Seats, in the group, we were chatting back and forth, and Frank said, this looks like the Celtics, and I said, it looks like Joe Mazzulla's ghost is on the sideline over there for San Antonio. They keep throwing up these threes. It was insane. In the first half, the threes all went down, and they had a 71-49 lead, or 76-49 lead, whatever it is. 27-point lead they had at the half. In the third quarter, it got up to 29 points. A lot of people were like, this game's over. Even the guys in the group, they were like, the game's over. They're not doing anything. Nothing's going to happen. Say goodnight, blah, blah. I can't believe how stupid San Antonio's coach was to let these guys keep throwing these up. I don't remember exactly who it was, but late in the game, guy came down, got the ball, right away, but throws up a three. It's an air ball. I'm like, Derek White. I'm like, what are they doing? I couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe it. And the Knicks just kept clawing back, cutting it into it. They were going inside. They were getting back. I'm like, they chipped away and chipped away. I still can't believe what I saw. I can't believe how stupid they were in the second half. They were like 2 for 18 or something, or 2 for 20 in the second half. They had a stretch where they missed 8 in a row or something like that. I caught at the end of the game, they have the post game, and they have Charles Barkley and all those guys on the TNT set there, or whatever the NBA set is now, NBC, right? They're on the set at the end. And this is Charles Barkley's comment, and he summed it up perfect. So I had to put this in here. He said, "We saw the dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization." It's like, yes, it's not the Celtics anymore. He said they had a 25-point lead, took 8 straight threes. Like, that was some of the most mismanaged, stupid basketball. When you blow a 29-point lead, the other team has to help you. San Antonio Spurs helped the New York Knicks win this game by doing some stupid-ass stuff I've ever seen on a basketball court. I am telling you, it's the most behind the Celtics, what they did. They just it was so easy in the first half. They all went in, and then in the second half, they weren't going in, but they wouldn't go away from it. And it's like, I listen to the sports shows and I listen to what they talk about, and it's all analytic driven. And they look at it and they have this thing where they say, okay, if it's an open look, it's better than trying to get inside and get a two shot from two with a guy in your face. So wide open threes are supposed to be like high percentage shots to these guys, and you're supposed to make them. I don't care if the guy's wide open 1,000 times. If he's not making them, you got to stop shooting those shots. I don't care if they're wide open. We saw this with Al Horford. We saw this with Derek White this year. The guys can be wide open, but if they're cold during the game, you can't let them keep doing the same thing. And they all went cold. And, Victor Wembanyama, the big, tall 7'4" guy, only took, I think, 4 shots in the fourth quarter, or something, one shot in the last 4 minutes or something. Like, he's your best guy. You got to get him more involved. But the problem is, they played him 23 and a half minutes in the second half. He had to have been dead. He had to. They need to manage him a little bit better. He's not used to playing 43 minutes or 47 minutes in a game at that size. You'll kill him or get him hurt, one or the other. But I just wanted to mention that because the dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization is not the Celtics. That's all I'm happy about right now. Thank you, Charles Barkley. All right, let's move on to this I saw right before the show started. The Celtics supposedly are still in on Giannis. There's some reports going around that the Celtics are willing to offer everyone except Jason Tatum in a potential Giannis blockbuster deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. There's a reporter, I'm not going to put his name. I'm here to add, I've heard Boston is shopping people around a lot right now. Boston is making calls and is open to trading anybody besides Jason Tatum. Okay, we've covered this and we're going to keep covering it. Excuse me. Nobody here is trying to run Jaylen Brown out of town. I don't know what it would look like if they traded him and got Giannis, and you'd have Giannis and Jason Tatum here as the 1-2 punch. I think that would be probably a disaster if they did that. I want them to get a big guy, but this guy can't stay healthy, and it's a problem. So if he's the number 2 or the number 1, and he can't stay healthy, that means Jason Tatum has to carry more of the load by himself. I don't think that's good for him either. So my hope is they can figure out some kind of way to figure out a 3-team trade where they can trade like Sam Hauser and, maybe even Derek White, as much as I don't want to, but keep Jaylen Brown. And then you bring in Giannis and he adds like they did when they got Porzingis, right? You want to add to those 2 guys. You don't want to trade them away. I also think that Jaylen Brown, rightfully so, thinks he's the number 1 guy. He proved that he could carry the load. If he went to Milwaukee, he would be the number 1 guy without Giannis there. Or if he goes somewhere else, he is more likely to be the number 1 guy. I honestly, we talked about this on here numbers of times over the course of the year when Jason Tatum was hurt and the offense was going through Jaylen Brown. They weren't just throwing up threes all the time. They dialed them back. They dialed up plays for Jaylen Brown to carry the load. It worked. When the playoffs came, they went and reverted right back to the same old crap, and it didn't work. So stay tuned. It looks like there's a 2-team race between the Celtics and Miami. Reporters that Giannis wants to go to Miami. So those 2 teams could be fighting it out, but there's other teams that are going to be in the mix. There's always going to be some surprise team. I wouldn't be surprised if they jumped in and they took a shot. And Giannis doesn't end up coming here. But I do think that Brad Stevens is looking to shake up the roster. I think he has to. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but he's been pretty shrewd as the GM these last bunch of years, and he's really good at it. So, we had the old before, in Belichick we trust. I think that right now in Stevens we trust for now until it's proven otherwise. If they roll it back with the same thing and don't do nothing, then that's going to be a problem. But even he acknowledged that, they need to do something. So I'm counting on him to make it right. All right, let's move on. We're going to run out of time. Actually, we're going to overrun, Frank. Sorry. Let's do the poll questions. We had a couple of them. Let's start with mandatory minicamp starting and A.J. Brown now a Patriot. Do you think the team should trade Keishon Boutte? Yes, he's expendable, 0. No, keep in case of injuries, 100. And depends on the return, 0. So nobody thinks we should trade him away. I honestly don't want to trade him away myself. I think he can add value. When they want to spread the field with 4 wide receivers, he should definitely be on the field. You're going to have him with Dobbs and A.J. Brown and Mac Hollins probably. That's a pretty damn good 4 guys right there. Or you can even take out Hollins and put in Pop Douglas maybe or Efton Chisholm and make it, make it good. So I don't really want to see him get traded, but we'll have to wait and see. Next question. Should the Red Sox trade for a right-handed power bat to try and salvage the season or trade off the veterans since they're mired in last place? We had get the bat, they need the help, 100%. The team sucks, sell the veterans, 0. So all of you think that they should trade for a bat. At this point, I disagree. I think they should just let it go, finish in last. There's a work stoppage coming. I think that's most of the reason they didn't sign Pete Alonso or Bregman or anybody else to a big contract, because they know there's a work stoppage coming. There's a lockout coming in next year, and they're going to try and put in a salary cap, and it's not going to work. And then they're going to be right back where they were. So yet to be seen. Let's move on to the weekly predictions. These are from last week's show. We'll do Frank's first since he's not here. He said the Celtics will make no moves until after the NBA Finals is over. Ding, ding, ding. They're not going to do anything. It's a no-brainer. He said the Red Sox will win a couple of games and they would be above 500 when he came back on, or they would be above 500 for the week, and that they would win the New York series. Wrong. Sorry, Frank. And he said the Patriots would bring back Stephon Diggs. They did not. Wrong again. Mine would definitely know better. I said the Patriots would make a surprise cut we don't see coming. Wrong. They didn't cut anybody. The Red Sox will get swept by the Yankees. Wrong. They won the first game. Those jerks messed me all up. I said that Caleb Durbin and Greg Wiesert would both get sent to Worcester this week. Wrong. Neither one of them went back to Worcester. And now that Durbin's hitting, I don't think I want to send him back right now. He's one of the only guys hitting the ball. So it's not a good idea to send him packing. Predictions for this week. Listen, if the Celtics are going to make a move for Giannis, I think they're going to wait. I agree with Frank. I think they're going to wait until after the finals are over. But I think that the rumors are going to keep swirling. And, you're going to hear that more teams are involved with Giannis. And, again, it wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics could make a 3-team trade for another guy besides Giannis. And I'll put that out there as the prediction for this week. The Celtics get involved in a 3-team trade, and Giannis is not part of that deal. And they get the big man they want. So there's one. The Red Sox, I'm just going to say status quo. They're going to keep losing. They're going to lose, what do they have this week? Probably 5-6 games. They're going to lose 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. They're not going anywhere. And the heat is going to be on them to make moves. And I think that somebody's getting sent to Worcester, and I think it's going to be Slayton. I think Slayton gets sent back to Worcester. One more bad outing from him, he's going back, unless he doesn't have options, which I have to look into, because some of these guys don't have options to go back to Worcester. Wiesert does, so if Slayton can't go back, then I'd send Wiesert back and get him the hell out of here. So my option is it's either Slayton or Wiesert. One of them two bums is going back to Worcester. And we'll stop there. I don't have anything else. That's it for the show. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for voting in the polls. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to catch us on YouTube. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys all next week.